Hey everyone, welcome back to GIS Gallery. In the last video, we learned what lists and tuples are. Today, we are diving deeper. We will learn methods available for lists and tuples like append, insert, sort, count, and more. If these videos are helping you, make sure to like, subscribe, and enable notifications. Many Python plus GIS automation tutorials are on the way.
And yeah, so like I told you, we have different methods, okay, for list. So working with a list, we have different methods. So these methods are actually your actions that can be done on a list. So just like we saw for your strings yesterday. So we have the start with, end with, length, all those things, right? Similarly, you have different list methods, all right? And you also have some tuple methods also for working with tuples. Okay. So I'll be showing you or I'll be explaining to you all these methods here now. I believe a list method that you have is append, extend, insert, remove, pop, clear, index, count, sort, and reverse. Okay. And then we'll be seeing them one by one here. First method, that is append of X. Okay. So these are list methods. There are methods available in list. So that's the actions that can be done on the list. Okay. So the first method is append of X. So what does it do? It adds an item X to the end of the list. Okay. So you have a list already created. And if you want to add elements to the end of a list, okay, you could use this append of X. Okay. So the syntax will be the list name dot append X being the value needs to be added. Okay. So for example, I have a list here, numbers. Okay. Its values are 1, 2, and 3. Now, if I want to add a value 4 to the end of this list, that means after 1, 2, and 3, if I need to have the value 4 here, I could do numbers dot append 4. Okay. And now if I just run this, you can see that the output that I got is 1, 2, 3, 4. So which means the number 4 has been added to the end of this list here. Okay. Now this dot append will only append a single value. Okay, so you cannot give like two values. Like so, if I want to add two values, I cannot give it like this. Okay, so list dot append only exactly takes one argument. Okay, so you can only add a single value using this append. Okay, but what if you want to add different values or a number of values? Is that time when we use the next method, that is extend. Okay, so what does extend do? It extends the list by appending elements from given iterable. So whatever the elements that you want to add, the number of elements that you want to add to a list, the end of the list, you could give them as another iterable. So iterable means a list or tuple or whatever. Okay, so the syntax is list dot extend and the iterable that you're going to do. Okay, so for example, so I have the numbers here. I have list numbers. Okay, now you see this, when I give the hash here, it's been greened out, right? Which means that this is a comment. Okay, so even this one, this is a comment. Okay, which means this line won't be executed, but will be shown as a note for me. Okay, if we just remove the hash here, it becomes executable. So for example, I have the list numbers having values 1, 2, and 3. Now, if I want to add values 4, 5, and 6 to the end of this, I could use my dot extend method. So I'll be giving numbers dot extend, and I'm giving 4, 5, and 6 as a list. Okay, so I could just give a list or tuple, so whatever. I'm just giving a collection here. Now, if I run this and printing numbers, you can see that 1, 2, 3 has been extended by 4, 5, and 6 values. Okay. So to add numerous values to or more than one values to a list, you can use your extend. Okay. So this append and extend, you can see it adds these values to the end of the list. Okay. So, but what if you want your elements to be added at specific address or specific index? So that is when we use the next method, that is insert. Okay. So what does it do? Insert ix. It insert an item x. Okay. So second parameter item x at a specified position I. So you can add specific values x at for the specific index value. Okay. So the syntax for that is list name dot insert your index and then the value that you want to add to your list. Okay. So in the specific example, I have a list that is numbers 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now if I want to add a value, maybe okay. So let it be 4 here. Okay. Now I want the value 3 to be added after 1 and 2, but before 4, right? So what could be the address or index of that value? Like after 1 and 2, I want to add 3. So what should be the index of 3? The first value index is 0, second value index is 1, and the next value, the index could be 2, right? So I'll be just giving the value. Okay, so I'll be giving numbers dot insert index 2. The value that I want to add is 3. Okay, so I want to add the value of 3 at index 2. All right, so it's inserting. Okay, it's not replacing, it's inserting data. Now if I just run this, you can see that I get 1, 2, 3 and then 4. So before 4, after 2, I just inserted the value of 3. So to insert element at specific index, you can use this insert method. Alright. Now if you want to remove elements, you will be using the method remove of x. Okay. So what remove of x does is it removes the first occurrence of item with value x. Okay. So the first x value that is inside your list will be removed from your list. So syntax for this is list dot remove of x, the value that want to be removed. Now for example, I have a list fruits here of values apple, banana, cherry, and again banana. Okay. Now if I give fruits dot remove banana, so if I want to remove the first occurrence of banana, I can just give fruits dot remove banana. But still I have two bananas here. Okay. So what are dot remove method will remove the first occurrence of your list value that you have given. So my first occurrence is of banana is at the index this one, right? So that's the one that's going to be removed. Now if I give print fruits here, I get apple. Okay, so this banana will be removed, and I get cherry and then banana. Okay, so if you want to remove a specific value for the first occurrence of a value from your list, you can use dot remove method. Okay, and yeah, so this one like removes the first occurrence, right? But what if I want to remove an element at a specific index? Okay, so that is when we use the pop method. Okay, so so the pop method has actually two kinds of actions that can be done. So it removes and returns the items as position I. So if you are giving the index, if you are specifying the index, it removes that element at that index from your list. Okay, but if you are not giving this index, if it's just giving as an empty pop, it removes the last item. Okay, so for example, so yeah, so the syntax for that is list dot pop your item. Okay, so for example, I have a list numbers of 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, now if I want to remove the last item from here, okay, so if I want to remove the last item being the 4, okay, I could just give numbers dot pop and empty. Okay, I'm not giving any index here. So if I'm not giving any index here, the last item will be removed. Okay, now if I just print this, you can see that the list becomes 1, 2 and 3. Okay, but if I want to remove the element at index, like the second element, okay, so if I want to remove the second element, I could give the pop same pop method but specify the index. So the index of element 2 will be 0, 1, right? So if I remove that, I just give numbers dot pop 1. Okay. So if I just give numbers dot pop, the value that was removed was 2. Okay. Now if I just print numbers again, you can see that it becomes 1 and 3 because 4 we already removed in here, and then it what remaining was 1, 2, and 3. Now when I remove pop 1, that is the 0 first element, so 0, 1, that is 2, right? So number that was removed was 2, and when I am printing numbers, you can see that it only remains 1 and 3. So the element at the index of 1 was removed from my list. Okay. So these are the methods to remove elements. So you have the pop method and remove method. And to add elements, you have insert, extend, and append. Okay. Now, if you want to clear the whole list, okay, so if you want to clear the whole list and make it empty, you will have the method clear. Okay. So dot clear method will remove all elements or all items from the list, making it empty. And the syntax for that is list dot clear. Okay. So for example, I have the fruits here. Okay. If I want to clear the elements inside, I could just give fruits dot clear. And if I just print fruits, you can see that it's an empty list. There are no elements inside there. Okay. So those are the elements to actually add and remove, or those are the methods to add and remove elements from your list. Okay. Then you have some additional methods. One of that is index. Okay. So just similar as your index method in text. Okay. So it returns the index of the first occurrence of the item X. So just like if so, for the fruits here, I have apple, banana, cherry, and banana. So if I want to find out what is the index of banana, I could just give fruits dot index banana. Okay. So the first occurrence of banana is in the index of 0, 1, 1, right? So it should show me the index of 1. So list dot index will output me the index of element what that we are trying to find. Okay. Then we have another method that is count. Okay, so it returns the count of the item X. So dot count method removes the returns the count of your element. So the syntax is list dot count of X. So for example, I have the numbers here 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2. Now if I want to find out how many times 2 occurred in my list, I can just give numbers dot count 2. Okay. So numbers dot count 2 will actually count how many times this value 2 occurred in my numbers list. If I just print this, you can see that 3. You can just count this. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So this element 2 occurred 3 times in my list. So the total count of and occurrence of the number 2 in my list is 3. So that is this one. Okay. And now if you want to sort your data, sort the elements in a list, you have the method sort. Okay. The sort items in the listing place. Okay. So by default, sort will the sort method will sort your elements in alphabetical or ascending order. Okay. So if it's numbers, it sorts in ascending order. If it's characters, it sorts in alphabetical order. Okay. But you have an optional parameter that is called reverse. Okay. That will show you. So I have the numbers list here 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 9. If I'm giving dot sort, okay, so numbers dot sort is empty. The parameters are empty. So by default, it will be sorted as ascending. If I just run this, I get 1, 1, 3, 4, 5, 9. So the values inside my list were sorted. Now, if I want to sort it in descending, or the opposite of alphabetical order, I will have to give the optional parameter reverse equal to true. Okay. So if I am giving numbers dot sort, but the parameter is not empty, I am giving the reverse equal to true here. Your numbers will be sorted the opposite. So which means it will be sorted in descending order. Okay. So the sort method you can use to arrange or sort your data in either alphabetical or ascending or the reverse of that order. Okay. And the last method that you have is reverse. Okay, so what reverse does is it actually reverses the current order of your data. Okay, so for example, I have the numbers here 1, 2, 6, 7, 5. So if I want to reverse this order, I can just give numbers dot reverse, and the output will be the reverse order. So the 5 will be the last will be my first, and my first will be the last. So 1 becomes the last, 2 becomes last, 6, 7, 5. So it will be reversing the order of your current uh, order of the elements inside the data. Okay. So these are the methods available for your list. Okay. So these are the list methods. So which I have given in this PPT, which I'll be sharing with you. So when I'm sharing the data, you also have the next slide. You'll be having the list examples and possible pitfalls that you may occur. Okay. So you can read this. Okay. Now, if you're coming back to tuples, tuples only have two methods. Okay, that is count and index. That is why, because tuple is immutable, which means you cannot add or remove elements from a tuple. So that's why it doesn't have all the methods that we have as in list. Okay, so tuple only has two methods as a count and index. So these work the same as your list method. So you can just give dot count an element, and it will show you how many times that occurred in your tuple. And similarly, to find out the index, so it returns the index of the first item whose value is X. Okay. And similarly, I have also given you tuple examples and pitfalls. All right.